All right, what's up, everybody? It's the Arty 84 show, live here from quarantine. As always, I am the Arty 84 live on Facebook tonight. As always, below me, I guess it's below me, is Adam DeMallet.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, we're doing great for the third week. Our loyal Packy contributor, Mr. Ryan Glover, below me as well. And we have the most reoccurring guest on the show out of the 10 years I've been doing this show. Ladies and gentlemen, Kacy G up there. How's it going, buddy?
Oh, it's going fantastic.
So, Kacy, is that a real backdrop, or is that like a imposed screen?
Oh, I'm on my porch.
Oh, okay. Nice. So it's hot as balls here in Massachusetts today. This is the hottest day of the year we have had so far. How are you guys handling this heat?
I'm grumpy. I think my body's just not used to it. It's that time of the year where you just got to get reused to it. So I think I went for a run earlier, and I just came home and just collapsed. I'm just exhausted right now. And I've been kind of grouchy. And like I'm walking around my apartment, and like I saw a spider, and it was like big enough to the point where I was like, "Fuck, why did I see you? Because now I gotta kill you." And like it was so big, I was like, "I don't want to touch that fucking thing." But like it pissed me off that I saw it. I was just like, "Damn it! Why did it have to be there?" And then I got mad at that for some reason. It was stupid to get mad at that, but I did, and now I'm here.
Yeah. How about you guys? How you dealing with the heat?
Kacy. I thought it was great, man. I like went and got some French vanilla ice cream, from Star Market, so.
What about you, Kacy? How you handling the heat? You loving it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I've just been sitting on my porch all day, just editing, writing.
Yeah. So as a new homeowner here in the house, we don't have air conditioning. We don't have central air. So today was the real first test of how we're going to deal with the heat in the summertime and how high on central air is priority going to be on this list on the upcoming season. And I'm going to tell you, it's hot there. It's 80 degrees downstairs. It's 86 degrees in my son's room next to me. It is 95 degrees in the studio I'm in right now.
Have you ever thought about getting like a portable air conditioning unit? Like those are pretty good.
Yeah, it might be a possibility. We're gonna kind of evaluate the situation. So we can't have window air conditioners upstairs because each room only has one window, so it's a fire hazard. And so that's out of the question. So the studio is so fucking hot because I got 9 lights on me right now, and then all the computers and the TVs and stuff. And
I'm like drinking too.
Drinking. So.
Oh yeah, that's not good. You might fall over any minute. Then is what you're saying.
It's a cold beverage, so it's keeping it's quenching the thirst. Yeah. By the way, your friend Priscilla's watching right now.
Oh, cool. Hey, Priscilla. It's 82 and rising in my apartment right now, so it's getting kind of toasty. Yeah.
You have I should invest in a portable air conditioning unit. I had like a apartment in like South Central, and like we didn't have air conditioning, so we got one of those and stuff and everything for like $200 or something from Kmart, and it kept the apartment like super cool.
Really? Oh, okay. So it's one of those like standalone things, right? Like those standalone, and it works good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, I got one. It's just the problem is it's right where I'm posted up talking to you guys. So unless you want to hear in the background for an hour, I'm just gonna kill it,
So we're almost out of quarantine. Adam, I'm saying not next week, but the week after, you will be in the studio with us.
Okay. We'll see. All right, we'll see.
Allegedly.
Yes.
Allegedly.
We give you the okay. You are welcome to come over to the establishment if you want to be in the sweat box of a studio. Now in my basement, it's like 65 degrees. So like, we can do the show down there, or we could do it in this room topless. So it's up to you.
I sweat worse than you, so I'm gonna drench my shirt probably in that studio.
What Italian? You really show up to the stereotype of sweaty Italian.
I don't compare to Maddie though. Maddie is like Maddie like crazy.
Fatty Maddie, who was on the bachelor party,
drenched his seat.
Yeah, we went to the hottest game in 20 years. Hottest NFL game in 20 years. It was the Jacksonville versus Patriots game a couple of years ago. And before the game even started, Maddie looked like he had a wet T-shirt on. He was soaking wet from sweat. So He is a sweaty mofo. Kacy, we haven't talked to you since the quarantine. How have you been hanging since everything's been going on?
It's been freaking amazing is how it's been. I've never been so productive in my life before.
Yeah. Well, you hate people anyway, so this must be fucking great for
you. It's perfect.
Yeah.
I hate people, which is funny because my day job consists of me talking to people. 10 hours a day, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So, for somebody who hates people, I certainly don't have the right job.
And you were a server for all those years, working with myself. So, I mean, that's not exactly the job you want if you hate people as well,
Honestly, that was a great job. I actually enjoyed that. Not my favorite job, but it was definitely a great job. I would totally do it again.
Would you like to share to the guys some of the characters you used to tell guests what your name was?
I think there's really only one, and that was Ted Bundy. I used to joke and say, "Yeah, you got a nice save. You got Jeffrey Dahmer cooking on the grill in the back."
That's right.
I'm sure that'll get you a lot of tips.
Actually, it did. Actually, I only got one complaint.
Cleaned up pretty well. He was yeah, I remember one day walking by him and he's like, "Yeah, my name's Ted Bundy. I'll be a server tonight." Very interesting. So we have officially went into phase 1 in the state of Massachusetts. And I don't really think there's much change. If you guys noticing that it's changed so much with this whole situation?
No. You get your hair cut.
My wife gave me my haircut this weekend, and she actually did a pretty good job. In fact, I may never go to a barber again.
Is that why you're wearing a hat right now?
Yeah. Yeah. It actually wasn't bad. It was like I gave her the attachments, and I just kind of did a 2, like a 4 on top, and then like she faded it out to a 3.
All right, that's not bad.
Not bad. I go, hey, it works. I just cleaned it up a little bit. I mean, for a first time, for not having any experience of a cutting hair before, I gotta give it to them. Save me $20. So
there you go.
Yeah, so that's supposed to be basically get haircuts. That's about it. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yeah.
Go to the beach on Memorial Day. That was.
Oh, did you go?
Yeah, I went to the beach.
How was it?
Nice. I mean, like it seemed like people weren't like wearing masks and stuff and everything, so it was like relaxed. People just like like a regular Memorial Day, just less people. I went like early though. So,
what beach did you go to?
One over by like Manchester by the sea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Crane Beach, like kind of that area there.
Yeah.
So we went to the beach on Sunday. We drove up to Old Orchard Beach in Maine. We're fucking breaking the law, crossing 2 borders that day. And no one in Maine's wearing masks. There was a couple people. And the only people wearing masks were wearing masks because they thought they had to wear masks. And once they seen that no one else was wearing masks, everyone took the mask off. So I didn't encounter any masks.
I mean, Maine's a libertarian state. Doesn't matter what anybody tells them. They'll do whatever they feel like it.
But it felt so great crossing that border into New Hampshire. I felt like Jurassic Park when you finally like turn the corner and like doo 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 doo, and all these Massachusetts plates are flying over the border, and we're all making. I feel like a pterodactyl just making a break. It's definitely. I felt like a refugee escaping persecution, getting into New Hampshire this weekend. It was great.
Nice.
But it definitely was a nice change of pace because I don't know. Who the fuck knows? We don't know. No, we talked about this last week. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's like the comment we all make every week. We don't know. We don't know. Just playing it by ear. That's all we can do.
12 weeks of I don't fucking know what's going on. I mean, it's almost June. We've been doing this since March. Time is in the hourglass. It's just flowing like the salmon of Capistrano. And here we are just to indulge ourselves, It's
So you got to tell me how comedy works on Zoom, like with a stand-up show. I'm really trying to understand. Like that just seems awkward as fuck.
So, and I kind of fucked up. I went over my limit because like it's tough to see the light when you're looking at it. So, comedy club called Laughing Buddha Comedy, which I've done. They actually have a comedy club in New York City, and I've done it a couple of times back in the day. And so recently I've been thinking about I want to get back into comedy. I took 2 years off since I've been on stage. And now with we got the house, the kid's born already, the wedding already happened. Now it's time for me to kind of get into a groove and kind of get back into it a little bit. So I got this email saying they're doing Zoom comedy. So I'm like, all right. I'm like, oh, this is actually good because I don't have to leave the house. I'm not going out and being rambunctious all night. I'm just staying in my office upstairs. So I signed up for it, and basically you go into a Zoom chat like this, and there's up to 12 people. They had 9 tonight. So you get 5 minutes. The toughest part is where my monitor. So I'm the only one, and I'll post some video online tonight of my set. But I'm the only one who actually has a backdrop and like has a microphone stand. Like I busted out the old stand and I had the mic set up. It was like I was on stage, you know. Everyone else was just sitting in the front of their computer with like a headset on, kind of like you, Adam. They had a headset on. They were like talking, but to me, I had the speakers on in the studio, so I didn't have to wear headphones, and I had the mic, you know, on, so it didn't pick up anything. But so I was actually felt like I was on stage, so I was kind of getting into it, and that's my problem. I was getting into it because, and I wasn't paying attention to the TV screen of the little square in the corner that gives me the light. So I missed the light. So I got cut off at 6 minutes. I was only supposed to get 5. So, but I mean.
So they're just other comedians in there with you, though? I mean, it's not really a crowd, though. So, okay, you're just doing comedy with other comics. Gotcha. All right. Because I was like, is there a crowd element? Like,
yeah, there could be a crowd element, but you'll know that here's the problem. So you have a crowd, but they can watch you on the link, but you can't see them. There's no interaction on.
Okay.
So it was pretty much like if you ever went to an open mic, like with a bunch of other comedians, like they don't laugh at other comedians' jokes. So it was really no different than doing an open mic with other comedians, because there's no interaction. Usually, most comedians are sitting there trying to get their jokes together. They're not paying attention to the comedian on stage. And in reality, you really don't want to listen to the comedian on stage because you don't want to accidentally take any of their jokes and kind of use it for your own. So you kind of zone out.
Yeah.
And I happened to go first tonight, so I was like, all right, boom. So I stand up, I'm doing it, I'm trying some new jokes and stuff, and I'm changing my act a little bit. I was kind of like a raunchy act in my early days. I'm going more to like dad comedy, so I'm becoming more like a Seinfeld. I was more like a Jim Norton. Now I'm becoming more of like a Seinfeld, like kind of like observational. Like, what's the deal with buying a house? I just bought a house. Oh, my kid shits. I had to change it.
Why do they call it New England? It's over 100 years old.
Basically stuff like that. So I'm trying my new, and it's actually working really well because the jokes are actually longer. They're more stories than punchline jokes. So, but the problem is it's really tough to work those in a 5-minute open mic. So so I'm going to do another show on Friday. And then I'm going to try to, instead of doing my lead up joke and then the joke I was working on that I got cut off, I'm just going to do the joke I was cut off. I'm just going to bang that out and work from there. Cause there's really no time to set up anything. It's really, I don't have the time. I don't. So I got to really fine tune this joke and kind of condense stuff. So, which kind of sucks because when you're doing a show for real life, you really want to stretch those jokes because you got to fill 25, 30 minutes, right? You don't want to condense your joke if it's, a 7-8 minute joke. You don't want to condense it to 5 minutes because you're going to take time. It's just going to take away some goodness to it. So, but it wasn't bad. Overall, it wasn't bad. I'm going to sign up for another show on Friday. I'm going to try to do a show every other night until this quarantine's over and get back to real stand-up once a week, once we're allowed to go outside and see how that goes. But it's, I gotta keep the grease on the wheels. You know what I mean? I was getting the answer. Oh, yeah. You and Ryan, both actors, if you're, you guys have to, how do you guys, how do you deal with like gigs and stuff? Like, right? I mean, have you been doing any online, like video? Have you been searching like any things that require like you can act online via Zoom or anything? Or?
I've applied for a couple things and stuff, everything. Like, I think it was always like, where you'd send in for like they'll tell you to read the sides and stuff, everything, and like send them back and stuff, everything. But like one of the issues I have is like finding people and stuff, everything to read sides with me. So like that like is a challenge, like in itself sometimes. But like I'll do like like on auditions and stuff like that sometimes online and talk to like different people, whatever, about just like self-submit to stuff. There's a lot of like online like castings and stuff, but like pretty much haven't been doing like a whole lot because I was like, oh, like they wanted me to submit, but like just like it's challenging to find people to read with you sometimes, especially in a pandemic, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
so
I've seen a few acts like online to submit some stuff to digitally. I do feel though this is probably a good opportunity for people who really like want to do something to like build stuff and get stuff going. I mean, because a lot of people who were just like your regular, fly by night guy, kind of amateur, whatever I do it, then they're not going to do it after this is over. Like the comics that were kind of just like, yeah, I do it because there's nothing better to do. Probably won't do it unless they really want to when it's over. Actors the same exact way. So I feel like if you're like one of those kind of talented people who really want to do something, I mean, it's a good time to take advantage, like polishing shit up. Like, have you guys done any skits, like any, like, by yourself, YouTubes? I know, Adam, you work with either the potato. How about you, Ryan? Like, you do your interviews, but do you do like any skits? Like, you just sit there?
In the past, I've done a lot of that stuff. I haven't done anything like, like during the pandemic. I've mostly just been focusing on the interviews.
Yeah.
Because I found those like really interesting. So like I interviewed Michael Blackson this week and stuff, everything, who's a comedian, and like, and stuff, everything, and like just like hearing other people's story, because like I've always been interested in like biographies of people and just like how they got their start, and I think you can learn a lot from people's like successes, their mistakes and stuff. So that's just like why I kind of like stick to interviews, and it gives me a chance to interact with like another person.
Yep.
So.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the only thing you can do at this point, right? It's like, I don't know. I just feel like this is. I know it's a terrible situation going on. It's a pandemic. Was it a pandemic? What the fuck is it? Pandemic. Oh my god. Jeez, I had a stroke there for a second. I know
He's getting
it's hot. 95 degrees here in the studio. I'm sweating profusely here. I have no pants on, actually. It's the best.
Profusely? Did you say profusely?
I have no pants on right now. It's great. I'm sitting here waist up. It's clothes. So, no, but I feel like if you're a real go-getter, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of this time and kind of like, do something with it, right? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you take lemons and make lemonade. I mean, it sucks for everyone, but like, at the end of the day, you got to find something to like, kind of push you through all this shit, right? I mean, otherwise you're just going to sit there and, unless you're Kacy and hate people and you're loving it and you hope this thing goes on for another year.
I would totally be down for that. I would be okay with that. It's great. I've already written about 40 or 50,000 words since the lockdown started, which is about the equivalent of a novel. So
there you go.
Time wasted.
You're gonna be banging out novels like it's someone's business.
That's the goal.
What are you gonna say, Ryan? I'm sorry.
Oh, I think like, man, it seems like now like everyone is doing like when I was doing like Zoom interviews, I remember like no one wanted to do them because of the fact, like, what I mean, it's like like, oh, like it's a Zoom interview and stuff, everything, who does that, like rather do something in person and stuff, everything, or whatever. But like then like now it's like everybody's doing like Zoom interviews. I see it all the time, like major radio hosts and stuff, because it's all you could do unless you're like, essential and you're part of like, the news and stuff, everything, like, but it seems like it's oversaturated now to this point. So it's like everyone's doing it. But I'm getting like, some of the best interviews. Like, I think the quality of my interviews have actually gone up, in my personal opinion, but like where the views have gone down, because it seems like there's so many people online, and there's so much, everyone's online now, so you're competing against everyone for like the real estate of views and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, you were doing this long before anyone else was doing it, so you're kind of like the pioneer in the Zoom videos, so now everyone's copying you when you think about it at the end of the day.
I know, right? It's funny because people were like, oh, like, we'll never do a Zoom interview. Like, there are people I was talking to, and they're like, oh, can we do a Zoom interview? We'll do it. Because I guess like, a lot of people and stuff, everything like caught on, and, but it's interesting to see like, people, like I watch other people's styles of their Zoom interviews, and, just trying to, I don't know how long it's going to last. I hope this this ends though, because I was trying to get into really doing like live interviews, going out with a videographer, and it was like just started to do that, like then it started like, oh, like what I mean, and stuff, you can't go out anymore. So
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, I never even heard of Zoom. And then the pandemic happened, and then like all of a sudden it's like Skype does not exist anymore. Like pandemic just like killed Skype.
I agree. Never heard of Zoom before. And me and Adam did our first few remote radio shows via Skype. And then we did Zoom, and I found that Zoom's a little more user friendly for this interface for me to record and to get the show going and everything than Skype. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is.
Hilarious and stuff. You guys know, like I've been doing Zoom interviews on the site for like 2 years.
And I never knew there was Zoom. That's the problem.
I never knew there was Zoom. I didn't know there was Zoom.
It's fine.
They work out good, I guess. But I feel like this has forced me to like kind of like not be lazy with like Adam knows how like the studio used to be like. The studio used to be in my living room.
Yeah.
And every week we had to pop shit up real quick, like lights and stuff. And like, meanwhile, my wife's cooking dinner and the baby's crying right there. And then
the dogs.
Yeah, the dogs are barking. The roommate's coming in and out, like an idiot, like in front of the camera. So now it's like I have my little sanctuary here in the house, my own dedicated space that's, although very high tempered, but I might be buying one of the air conditioning units that Ryan was talking about to make this place a little cooler. But it's nice. I've it sucks that people are dying and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, if you're motivated enough, you can try to make something, useful out of this time. Like, obviously Kacy's writing,
Well, you
right?
have to. You go crazy.
I'm just staying alive. You know what I mean? Staying alive like the bee.
I think it's a really great time for planning and like figuring out like what you want to do like when the pandemic is over, and like what's important. I think like and stuff, everything, it gives you a really good time to like prioritize like what's really important in your life, and like get rid of stuff that isn't, because like at the end of the day, like and stuff, everything, I think like we realize like how important our families are, how important it is to have clean air, how important it is to have food, and
Absolutely.
you got a passion and stuff too, to follow that. So
yeah, I started dwelling on that kind of stuff the other day, and it just made me antsy. Like I just want to get to like point B now. I'm sick of freaking sitting around and waiting, and I just want to get there. You know what I mean? It's just, it gets a little frustrating just thinking about this whole situation too much.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just got to look ahead, I guess. So the bright side is stuff's opening up, so we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, what are you going to do? You got to sit here and just bitch and eventually it all catches up, and then
Yeah, and just wait for June's natural disaster.
What's that going to be?
I don't know, but May, we've apparently got murder hornets.
I'm not afraid of those.
Oh yeah, we talked about the murder hornets. Yeah, remember? Oh no, those things that have been sitting underground for 17 years are hatching this year too. I can't even pronounce it. The cacker, or whatever the heck they're called. I can't pronounce them. They're little bugs. They make those noises.
No, I'm just saying. So far, every single month has been something new, and something catastrophic.
It's a lot of civil unrest too, man. You see how they're looting and stuff, everything in Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Not too happy with the governor over there.
I think this is really dividing the country into two. I mean, everyone thought Trump divided the country. I mean, I think coronavirus is dividing the country in a deep, like, it's going to be, I mean, there could be a civil war.
Yeah.
The problem is there could never be a civil war in this country, and I'll tell you why. It would be very difficult because the cities, all the major cities are so highly Democratic and left-wing, and all the suburbs are right-wing. Unless the cities themselves separated into their own little pods, there could never be a formal divide in this country, because you couldn't get one state 100% on board to pull it out, because everyone else would just be arguing. That's the problem. Like, the only way this country would ever divide is if cities were just individually just like yanking themselves out of like the region. You know what I mean? Like becoming their own little pods. Because I mean, unless there was something like bad like that the Massachusetts was doing that Georgia didn't want to do. You know what I mean? Like something that was like statewide. Like that's the only way I could see them. Otherwise, it's just going to be civils just pulling themselves out. The city's just going, see ya. Hey.
All you need is Texas to lead the way.
There you go.
But even Texas though, like Houston is so left wing, like it's a highly like very populated left wing. Like so, would Texas will just leave and like leave Houston like out hanging out, like you know what I mean? I feel like you need something to be everyone be on board with, and I don't think people can't even agree on to wear a mask or not. You know,
Yeah.
You're gonna depend on us to have a civil war. We're not smart enough to come up with an agenda to pull away as Americans. We're lemons just following the ways of the government. They say wear a mask, we wear a mask. Don't wear a mask, don't wear a mask. Because remember, a couple months ago they told us not to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Now we're wearing a mask.
A couple months ago, they also said it was going to go poof.
I mean, so yeah, it's true. So Kacy, you're the only single one in this group still, right?
Yes.
So have you been?
I don't know everybody else's love life, but yes, that is.
You're the only single one, so I just want to make sure you didn't have a little lady you met over the course of the pandemic or whatever. Have you been doing online dating at all with the Zoom?
No.
No. We need to talk to someone.
I know we gotta find somebody who's diving into this.
There is no need to.
Do they wear the mask when they're doing their Zoom love life? Like, is that a thing? Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, social distancing. You know, if you're going to talk, you have to be 6 feet away from the computer at all times.
Yeah, yeah, so, yeah. You're in the other room screaming.
You just got to be safe. Stay 6 feet away from all communication at all times.
So we got a couple people watching right now. We got my aunt Sharon in Connecticut watching. We got Doug watching in Massachusetts. We got Brian watching in SoCal. He goes, things are opening up in SoCal. Restaurants open. Actually went to breakfast this morning in a place. Tables marked, no service, etc. Spacing people around. Our flights at Southwest are getting full again, capacity, and all that good stuff. So that's a good sign. So if California is opening restaurants and flights out of there are full, I mean, they're usually, you know, a nice start for how things are going. So if California is doing it, then it must be good, right?
You would think.
Disneyland is supposed to be open like in the middle of June, so like June 15th. I read that today.
Yeah. Disney, yeah. It's like everything. We're going to be full blown back to America in a few weeks, and things are going to be just fucking dandy. You know, the Democrats want this to last till like October though, because it's like they want to use this in their advantage for the election. But
I don't know if it's going to go their way. Like the way things are.
All right.
Yeah, he's you see that interview with Charlemagne where he said like
exactly. I was gonna ask that if anyone's seen Biden. So Biden's been hiding in a bunker lately, and he only comes out in certain moments. And when he does, he typically says something very dumb. I feel like Trump says stupid stuff too, right? But we just accepted the fact that Trump just says stupid stuff at this point, right? So like when he says something stupid, it's kind of like, well, it's Trump saying it. Now Biden was kind of quiet during the Obama presidency. You didn't hear much from him. He was, a leader. He had no one knew anything about him. And then all of a sudden he goes to run for president, and we realize that he's having difficulties making statements without something sounding, not intelligent. I'm sure he's an intelligent fella. But the things he's saying doesn't make him sound that way. And
he says really stupid shit.
I don't know. Like, doesn't he have someone proofreading what he says, or is he just going off script? Like,
I know. It makes you really wonder. It's like some of these people might be more quote unquote educated, but that doesn't make them smarter.
I know plenty of educated people with no fucking common sense.
None. Yeah.
I feel like the higher your IQ, the less common sense you have. You know what I mean? Like that's a
yep.
gift, yeah. So that's hockey. So a lot of the hockey enthusiasts or the hockey traditionalists are very upset about this. So hockey's probably going to be the next sport to start, and they're going to do remote locations as well, kind of like basketball is thinking about doing. Now basketball, I guess they're going to play. All the teams are going to go down to Disney World and play down there for the rest of the season. So
I know baseball players are pissed because they're trying to cut their pay or scale their pay, and they're not having it.
Baseball's done. They had their last opportunity to get this going, and now they fucked it. My favorite is Snell from down in Tampa. Have you seen any of his interviews?
I haven't seen any of his interviews. I just know he's totally pissed off that he's not taking a pay cut. He refuses to take a pay cut.
He calls it the Rona. That's his slang term. He goes, if I get the Rona, I'm going to risk my life. So he doesn't want to go. He once said he doesn't care if he gets the coronavirus. If he gets it, he gets it. Now he's backpedaling and saying he doesn't want to go out there and play baseball because it's risking his life. So whatever. I mean, listen, is he 82 years old? No, he's like 26. We can all agree who got royally fucked by the coronavirus, right? The one player that is royally fucked from the coronavirus. It's Mookie Betts. Because if Mookie signed with the Red Sox for his, what was it, $300 million deal that they offered him right before he left, and right before they traded him, he would have been guaranteed that $300,000 over the next 7 or 8 years, right?
300 million. Yeah, 300 million. Yeah.
300 million for the next 8 years, I think it was, right? Guaranteed. It's already signed in paper. The world could end. He's still getting paid. He opted out.
Dead.
You're dead, yeah. He opted out to go into free agency, and now he's a free agent at the end of this year. He may never play for the Dodgers. The Dodgers may not play a game. We traded him to the Dodgers. He's a free agent. Where is baseball teams going to come up with the money to pay these players? That I think those days are over. Don't you agree? Like those days of high-priced baseball players are gone because there's no money anymore.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think all players next year, all free agents in every sport are going to take a hit because the money is going to be in a little bit of a decline. It's going to have to build up gradually over the years to the fan bases again. Yeah.
It's probably actually a good thing for baseball because the numbers are so astronomical what the players are being paid now. That
it's ridiculous.
Couldn't justify, it didn't make the games justifiable. I mean, here's the thing. So you play 82 home games a year, but you're charging $40 to stand per game, right?
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's not the way. The more games you play, the cheaper the ticket's supposed to be. That's the way the principle works. I'm not paying the same amount to stand at a Red Sox game on a Tuesday night than I do, on a shitty Patriots game on a Sunday. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. And I think basically what happened is baseball has hit its plateau, and it's not going to get any higher than that. And now we're going to see some serious consequences. You may see teams as other leagues are expanding. Baseball might start to condense itself a little bit. You may be getting rid of a lot of teams, which they need to, which would reduce the schedule, which would make it a little more user-friendly. I mean, you're playing 6 months out of the year. So I don't know. I think the baseball players kind of not coming back. There's kind of a selfish move in their part for the fact that, they don't want to play, so they're not going to play. What's going to happen is you're going to see minor league players come up. They're going to have replacement players.
Yeah.
I'll go see some replacement players. I go see minor league games anyway. I'm actually wearing a Durham Bulls T-shirt right now, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays. I'll go see some AAA players play at Fenway Park. Don't be charging me $40 a stand.
No shit.
Yeah, but
I feel bad for the minor league players because you hear how the MLB halted the payments and stuff and everything.
Yeah, they got fucked. They got really fucked.
And those poor guys are only making like 20 G's a year at most, some of them, you know what I mean? They're not making a lot of money. So, I mean, the little money that they're making, they fucking just got zambooted over.
I don't know how they would do it, but Major League Baseball threatened to pull the plug on minor league baseball. They said we will get rid of the minors. I don't know how the hell they can do that, but they can apparently. I mean,
well, so basically all the teams own the minor league team. So basically the Red Sox have, the 5 to 6 affiliates that are under them that they own the players. And the mom and pops, you and we could own our own baseball stadium somewhere. I could own a baseball stadium in Bumfuck, Iowa, and that's my stadium and my team. And to enable to get players for that, I affiliate myself with a Major League Ball Club. The Major League Ball Club pays the players, and I take care of the facilities of the place. And then there's some kind of an agreement on gate prices of who gets so much money for each. And basically, it's a business. So you own a stadium. It's like a small business. So, I mean, I could see the Major League Baseball saying, well, fuck you. We're pulling out the minors. We're going to cut all the minor league players. They're all going to be free agents. And we're going to have a practice squad, like football has. And these players are in a retainer in a practice squad. Or they develop their own league, like the D League from the NBA is, affiliate of the NBA. So maybe they do something like that. Maybe they have the D League for baseball, and then you have instead of single A all the way to triple, you just have triple A players who are sitting there on deck ready to go for baseball. I mean, it will really piss off a lot of people and really be a real blemish in the sport because It's something that baseball is a type of sport where when you play for A ball to go to double ball to triple ball is a huge difference. I mean, from double to triple, and you can see what players. Look at Tim Tebow. From going to double, hitting all those home runs to triple A, it's a significant incline. The talent level is so much higher, you know?
I feel like the best players go from double A to majors, though. I feel like triple A is that, we're not sure about you. You might kind of suck, but we'll keep you here and see what happens, and then maybe we'll bring you up.
Yeah, and unless you're like, unless you're in a full effect, like a fast advancer, like I think like Mookie, for example, he went from like Portland double A to Pawtucket halfway through the middle of the season. He only played half a season in triple A.
And then it's like a rehab stint.
Yeah, and then I think he was brought up for the expansion roster for the pros, you know what I mean, at the end of the season. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, if you're a long-time AAA player, you just probably not going to make it. You know, if you haven't really – you only should be in AAA really for a year, the most.
Or if you're a major leaguer in rehab.
Exactly, yeah. You shouldn't be playing in AAA for more than a year or two because at that point – you're either waiting for your position open in the Major League Ball Club or – you're just not that good. And if you're waiting for a position, there's other teams out there that probably need that position and probably would have snatched you up a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I knew a AAA player. I worked with him at the bar. He was a AA player for Toronto. And he only made it to AA. He was a pitcher, relief pitcher. He ended up leaving. He ended up being cut by Toronto. And then ended up playing for a private league. Like, you know how like the Massachusetts Navigators, or they know like teams like that, or the Brockton Rocks. They're an independent baseball league. He went to go play for the Long Island Ducks down in New York, and it's just an independent league, you know. And he made $23,000 a season. That's it.
Fuck, I'd settle for that right now, man. I need some form of entertainment. You know how I know I'm suffering from this pandemic is the fact that even my dreams are lame. Like, my dreams are so lame. Like, I'll like dream I'm just standing in line at like a Dunkin' Donuts, or I'm standing in line waiting to buy something. Those are my dreams.
Adam, you're not dreaming about me in a onesie.
I don't have you to sit across from and stare longly into my eyes. So no, I'm not. That would be better. Even that would be creepy. At least that would be some fucking emotion. My dreams are emotionless. They're just me standing there and looking at things. There's nothing going on in my dreams. The lame.
Yeah. Kacy, do you have a revolving door of ladies just coming over your house? You taking their temperature before they walk in and, making sure they're coronavirus free?
Nope.
Good for you. You're a man of leisure.
He's just all comfortable on his porch. You look very comfortable out there, Kacy.
I bet there's a nice cool breeze going on, too.
I know, right?
It is. The only disturbing is that one of our neighbors is setting off fireworks.
You tell me your porch isn't 95 degrees in like a swamp?
No, it is not 95 degrees, and it does not feel like a swamp.
Well, it's cool out now. It's like 70-something.
My house is still at 80 degrees right now.
I bet if you step outside after the show, you're gonna feel like you just walked into an ice box. It's gonna.
I walked downstairs to get a beer right before we started the show, and downstairs was 80 degrees. Up here is like in the 90s, and downstairs felt absolutely beautiful. It was like, oh God, I'm telling you, it was like stepping into another world down there.
You're glowing like a pregnant woman. Your skin looks very glowing.
I might pass out in the middle of the show. Fuck. It is what it is, I guess, right?
Yeah.
For the love of the game, I feel like a baseball player here in the middle of July playing under the lights.
Please don't fall. I don't know what I would do. Like, I'd be like, do I call the cops? Like, yeah, we were just broadcasting on Zoom, and my buddy just smacked his head on the Fenway seat and cracked his skull open, I think. Like, how does that go?
Well, I hope you would call or text my wife, who's downstairs first. I mean,
me too. I would hope
maybe let her know, that there might be a situation upstairs.
You're right. That would be that should be step one.
I mean, I would appreciate that. Then if you want to call 911 after the fact, then you go ahead. But actually, what? Call 911 first. Don't call my wife because she might be sleeping down there. So it could be hours before you. People watching Facebook would be like, "Yeah, he hasn't moved for a while. Maybe his camera froze."
Some pretentious asshole though would probably think it's art. Be like, I love this piece. Look at what he's doing. But I understand it.
I am Art. That's my name.
But
I like those apples, kid. Oh man. So Do you think, and I had this discussion earlier with someone about football, I do not believe that the NFL will allow a season to begin without players in the stadium. I don't think they're a multi-billion-dollar company. I don't think they will allow this to happen.
I think that they will, only because, like you said, they're a multi-billion-dollar company and their television rights. So just for television alone, I think they would.
But
possibly.
I mean, that's 60% of their income, though. And
I know.
they're greedy motherfuckers, those football owners. You know that. You know they.
Yeah.
Kraft already said that I don't know if he was in an interview with on Fox News a couple days ago. I think it was last night actually, saying that he has all intentions to start the season with full fans in the stadium. I mean, I can't imagine. I think the NFL is one of the most powerful companies in this country, to be honest with you, right? I mean, granted, it's how many people, what percentage of people do you think watch the NFL? 60%, you know?
Yeah.
No.
Men and women of all ages. You know, it's one of the only sports that kind of goes through both sexes, male and female, and really covers a vast amount of ages. You know, baseball, the average viewer is 60 years old, you know. Basketball, the average viewer is, you know, in his teens, and, you know, more minorities watch basketball and they're younger and they're male. Hockey is predominantly, you know, middle-aged white men. That's the characteristic. Football really covers all characteristics, right?
It's true.
It has its own day of the week, you know, so.
Yeah, right?
You know what they should do? Bring people in, but every other seat is a sex doll.
I like that.
So you're still bringing people in, and there's a space between you and the next person. There you go.
Let me ask you a question. Can you use the sex doll while you're at the game?
Well, you see, that might cause some problems, but at least security will have their hands full, and they'll have stuff to do. You know?
That's true.
Some drunk asshole, you know what he's going to do at halftime.
Why do they make the lips so offensive on a sex doll? You know what I mean? Like they're so overly blown up. Like, you know,
they're surprised. They look surprised.
You know, surprised. Yeah. And why do they make the little blowy thing like right on the nipple? So you have to blow it up by the nipple, yeah. Or if it's a male sex doll, you blow it up in the pee-pee. Kacy, you ever see a sex doll in real life?
I've never seen, just in the other ones I've seen are amazing. Never. I don't know anybody to own one, but
I don't know. I never met anyone who owned one either. And I think if I did, I'd probably not be friends with him anymore. I don't think you can.
That is a wise decision.
You can't be friends with a guy who owns a sex doll.
I don't know, man. Those $3,000 sex dolls, man, they look really lifelike, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like.
Oh, they're gonna replace relationships eventually. Not in our lifetime, but like I feel like someday they're gonna destroy relationships. Because it's like, why the hell would I want to be with a woman who's gonna bitch and moan and whine when I could just go to this thing that looks completely human? I could beat it up, nobody cares. I can do whatever I want. It has no emotion. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it, and I'm not gonna get in any trouble. That's what's gonna happen eventually.
Were you the one who talked about relationships being ruined by Japanese sex dolls? Did we have this discussion? Did you write something about the? Yeah, so we talked about this.
Yeah.
Before, right?
Yeah, like a long time ago. Yeah.
It's a real life possibility. Sex dolls could ruin your relationship. And what's your wife gonna do? Take the batteries out of it? Like what's your other option? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one to you know, I like a little bit of personality. I mean, I have dated girls who have the personalities of sex dolls. That's about how blame they are. But, you know, at the end of the day, they still have a pulse. Unless these sex dolls have a pulse. I mean, I need a little. Otherwise, I feel like a Jeffrey Dahmer. You know what I mean?
Or Bill Cosby, man. They're just...
Hey, what are you talking about over there? But you know what's great?
You gotta have a pulse to be consensitive.
What are you making fun of me? I don't want to be able to pop a Kodak film. But I think that, like, they're great for the elderly. Like, if I was like an elderly person and like sex dolls are maybe like a couple more steps from where they are now, that'd be awesome. Imagine what the nursing homes will look like, just like these robots walking around with old people. You know?
I mean, it's better than an old man getting a hooker and getting crabs everywhere. You know what I mean? And then you have to like fumigate the apartment.
Like Robert Kraft, you know. So.
Yeah, right. Like, fuck.
You know, Jupiter, you know.
You know, every time I've been around one of those rubby-tuggy places in my life, like whether walking by or driving by, especially in Florida, you only see old men come in and out of those places, right? It's like you got a lot of old retirees going in there so years ago, I went down to go see at the time, the Cincinnati Reds were spring training in Sarasota, Florida. Now the Baltimore Orioles play at that stadium. So I went to a Reds game, and across the street from the stadium near the parking lot was this place called Body Works. And it was in this like rundown industrial park, but it was right across from the stadium, and you could see old men walking across after the baseball game into this place. It was a rub and tug place, right? Perfect location. I mean, I guess 1 month a year, perfect location. But I mean,
you like to rub it and I like to tug it.
Every time I've gone, like, you know, I've had an issue and stuff, everything. I went to the very first one I went to, they told me I must be an undercover cop. You know, and stuff, everything. I tried to convince them, like, no, I'm not an undercover cop, you know.
We popped into one time down in Florida many years ago, and the same thing happened to us. Me and my buddy walk in, and it was like 2:00 in the morning. We had just left like the nightclub. It was spring break, and right across the street from our hotel was this place. So I'm like, dude, let's go over there. I gotta see what the hell's going on in this place. So it was like a strip mall. You know how Florida get the strip malls and lights like that. Yeah. So we walk across, we go in there, and we're all like kind of dressed up nice and everything. First thing the girl says, she's like, "You guys gotta leave." I go, "Why?" She goes, "You guys are cops. Get out. Get out, cops. You harass me. You harass me." And we're like looking at each other like, fucking cops. I'm like, ties on. We had ties. It was spring break 2003. We were underage going into a nightclub, so we thought if we wore ties and dress shirts that the bouncer would just let us in. Well, he did. And here we are sitting in the nightclub. My buddy Joey Doubleback has a sweater on. It's Florida. It's hot out. You know, I got a tie on. We're sitting there. We met these girls from Iowa. It was a great night. Went to a rub tug, got kicked out, accused me being a cop, you know, man.
Well, if they thought you were a cop, you guys should ask for discounts. Should have been like, that should have been your next question.
That's a good question. I should give it the old winky wink and be like, well, you know, how can I make this disappear off my memory?
Right.
No, I mean, it's hard to admit a person that goes to those places regularly. I mean, there was one in Revere called Black Lace many years ago. Kacy, do you remember this place, Black Lace?
I have never been to such place.
Oh, I'm not saying you've been there. I'm like, do you remember driving by it and seeing it on Square Road, the big sign and everything like that?
No.
So there was.
Are you talking about what is now the Square?
No. This was like so when Northgate Shopping Plaza is across the street next to that mobile station, that building that's across from it had a place called Black Lace upstairs. It was a modeling store. So basically, what you do is you go in, and there's like this like trashy broad working there, and she'd be like, "For $50, I can model anything in this store for you," and then I work on tips. And they had like a little clothes rack of like clothes, like 5 outfits. And you'd be like, "Yeah, all right, that one." Then you go in there and model it, and then she puts it on for you for $50. And you're like, well, then the negotiations start from there. Allegedly, it was allegedly a big place for Revere Police to stop in occasionally. That's why it went on for 15 years and no one ever stopped it.
Wow.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah. And when it closed, it was like, I guess it's closed. Allegedly, someone who I know went there, they wanted $250 for a hand job. That's a lot of money for a hand job.
That's a lot of money. Jesus.
I mean, dirty hookies you can have sex with.
Especially if it's something you can do yourself, you know, like.
I know, right? With some great lotion, you know, you can do it for free, right? But if you want something to feel like a little more intimate about it, light a candle while you jerk off or something. I don't know.
Play some Enya in the background, you know what I mean?
There you go. Run a bubble bath. I don't know.
There you go. Shit. It's a lot of things you could do to make yourself feel more intimate. The things you could do at the Black Lace. All right. So it's about that time of the night. We have had a nice show here. We'll start with Kacy down there. Kacy, anything you plug in? Anything you want anyone to go check out?
Don't do it.
Don't do what?
What?
Whatever it is, don't do it.
No, I'm asking you. Is there anything you plug in? You want to plug or?
Plug? Not particularly, no, unless people like reading. Did manage to publish one book during quarantine. It came out beginning last month.
We could want to get this book if they chose to.
Oh, it is only available on Amazon.
Oh, okay. What's the name of it?
It is
your book very well.
Now, you know me. I hate people. I'm not very good with words, says the person who writes profusely. It's called The Desecration of the World. The basic premise of it is it revolves around the fallout of a civil war in a fantastical realm. So it's very much a very dark fantasy and a very dark retelling of a world similar to that of The Lord of the Rings. That's the best description I can pull off at the top of my head.
All right. So download it. Buy it from Amazon. Kacy needs some hand job money. Ryan, what are you plugging? What's going on with you? New interview?
Yeah, check out my recent interview on the Packy with Michael Blackson. Subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Word. There you go. Mr. Mallet?
You can always check out the Whirlwind Potato on YouTube and on the Packy. I've been starting to drop more of my videos on there lately. So
nice. And of course, you get me on the Packy and Wicked Explorers, twexplorers.com. So that's the show. Thank you guys for joining. Well, I know that we have one more quarantine show left, at least me and Adam together, and then we can go from there. But
then we can sweat together.
Sweats. But guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming on a little late tonight. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one.
Later, buddy.
You too.